Heyo, welcome everyone to Today in the Scene by Indie Arcade Wave. I'm Joe, your host, and on In the Scene, we dive into what's happening in the arcade scene, from new indie arcade games, new developers, arcade owners and operators, and just general news in the space. So we're here to answer the question, is the arcade dead? And a spoiler on that one is definitely no. I'm part of the team that brought Galactic Battleground to the arcade space in 2017, and I've been involved in the scene ever since. And before we jump into everything, I just want to shout out our new t-shirts that just came out. I'm going to throw up a couple pictures so you can see what's going on with those. They've got a cool crest of Indie Arcade Wave on the front and then a killer picture of an arcade that's like consuming everything on the back. Dylan made the art for that. So go check it out. The link for those is going to be in the description. Now for this week's episode. Let's dive into an indie from Argentina called Thunderball. This game was made by Lemon Chili Games. I've been watching this one for feels like a year now, probably at least 6 months. Hernan had a helping with this one, but the creator goes by Nando. So let's bring them in here and talk. How you guys doing today?
Hey, good morning.
Hello. Good morning. Thanks for being here. Yeah, I'm glad we're finally chatting. We've been talking on Instagram and everything. Let's just jump right in and kind of, you guys can intro yourselves and tell us why you started developing video games. Like, what got you into that?
Okay, I'll go first. My name is Nando. I'm the creative director of Lemon Chili Games. Although this is a solo indie project of mine and Hernan's. I don't know. It's maybe a very boring question to answer because it's very long. But I've been doing games since I'm like, I don't know, 7 years old, on DOS, programming on BAT, if you remember the BAT files, like doing any like text adventures and that sort of thing. Very inspired from Monkey Island and the Atari console, which my uncle had when I was very, very young. And from then on, I did a bunch of games using a software called Click and Play, which later became the Games Factory, which later became Fusion, Click and Fusion, which is the one I used to make Thunderball. Actually, it's not a very complex software to develop games. So basically, that's it. I founded a video game studio like 5 or 6 years ago, which Hernan has been alongside me as a creative consultant from the get-go. And we have developed a bunch of mobile games. We have created a live video game experience called Tough Coded, which actually won a few awards on Tokyo Game Show. That's a very I actually, as Hernan, we both studied movie direction. I mean, like film direction. So we come from a very different background than most people who do games. So our approach to stuff is generally very weird. So this Tough Coded project was actually a live video game experience, like a live audiovisual thing, like a mixture between DJ and video game. So I would wear a mask and design a video game live on events. So I went to South by Southwest like 3 times, to GDC a bunch of times, to a lot of shows, and I actually went all over the world, even to Tokyo Game Show, and where I won a couple of awards for best experimental game and best presentation, which Dobotone I think from Hernan's also won a few awards at the best same show the next year. So yeah, basically that's it. We're now working on the Mochili games, on a few mobile games and a Nintendo Switch game and a subscription service for kids called Book Kids. So we do a bunch of stuff. But this Thunderball arcade thing, it's an indie endeavor. It's outside the office. It's on free time. But yeah, that's about it.
I'm Hernan Saez. I'm part of Videogamo. I'm a game designer and also pixel artist and many other things. I guess you've seen, and if you've not, please check the other Videogamos videos on Indie Arcade Wave. It's the NAVE Arcade or NAVE, Dobotone, so the Gol-E-Gol football arcade. And I started, as Nando said, I started basically making movies since I'm a kid. I was a kid, like 11 years old, and in that time, and then expanded to video games in 2008, and then in 2010 I started with Maximo Balestrini, Videogamo, and we made all those games. I work with Nando at Lemonchili, doing many different things, and I helped him building Thunderball, helping a little bit with the software side and gameplay side, and then with the building of the arcade.
Yeah, I love it. I love that you guys have been working together for so long, and you've already got that chemistry. And the game looks great. It turned out really well. Let's talk about Thunderball. So it's just like this another unique indie game from Argentina, which is so cool to see. What is Thunderball, and when people are playing, what can they expect out of the gameplay?
Well, Thunderball is a sci-fi sport that we came up with, just like throwing ideas at the wall and throwing ideas at like testing stuff. It's basically a sport where it's a 1 to 4 player game. You can play 2 versus like singles or doubles or against the CPU. But basically, it's you play in an octagon. 2 teams play against each other inside an octagon. So it's 8 sides, and each player has a bat, like a lightsaber, like a Star Wars lightsaber. That every time you hit the ball, it turns the color that you hit from your team, and you have to color all the walls, all the 8 walls, to make a score. So basically, that's it. It's very interesting because it has a few interesting mechanics. Because not only you can hit the ball, but you can also stop the ball, like using it like a karate bow, and you can generate like a wall, a new wall, and you also have a boomerang button that allows you to throw the bat away and it comes back to you. So you have a bunch of ways to interact with the ball and the other and your teammate. But basically, that's it. The heavy inspiration from the game was, I think, a little bit baseball, but mostly NBA, like basketball, and NBA Jam, because the game also features like a female and a male live broadcaster as you play it, and that gives a lot of like a very sports feel, and it's very arcade. I mean, what to expect? The game is it's called Thunderball because when the ball gets to a certain speed, it gets really fast and it turns into Thunderball and it starts like throwing fire, like the On Fire from NBA Jam, and the ball like goes crazy and it goes very, very fast and it's very difficult to hit it. And there's a few mechanics there on top of the base mechanics, in terms that when you hit the ball and the ball is on Thunderball, it creates this explosion that pulls all the other players off yourself. So it has like this expansion, like this quake on the ground. So it goes like this, and all the other team members are pushed away. So basically that's it. It's simple. It's simple to understand once you get it. Once you start playing. I mean, that's basically the main concept behind Thunderball.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, it sounds fun. I want to play it. It's really far away, but I'm sure I'll get to play it someday. I'm planning on coming down there to meet up with you guys. So, what was your part in this, Hernan? I know that you've obviously been working with Nando for a long time, and you've developed a bunch of different games. How did you help with the creation of Thunderball?
Basically, playing it a little bit as a consultant, like what my thoughts were of the game while we were playing it, throwing ideas, and basically that it's like try to Nando was trying to do, and give my take on what I thought the game he was trying to do should be like. So that's the basic thing. Now that it's done, or the first prototype version is done, I'm a player. I go to the bar and play it a lot, and try to foster also the community of the game. So that's my job. And then when the software was practically done, I helped with what I knew from making arcades, recommending the guy that could build it, and also throw ideas and say what I think it was good or not that good.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, just kind of helping push it forward, playing the game. You helped with like the cabinet design and everything of it. What has Videogamo meant to you, Nando? Like as someone who's already developing games and they've made these arcade games, they've been showing them off for, I mean, what, Nave's like over 10 years now that you guys have been running events for that. What kind of inspiration was that to see someone near you build a cabinet and be like, I could do that too?
Yeah, totally. I mean, one of the biggest inspirations for Thunderball is, of course, NAVE, our arcade, but not only because of the arcade in itself and the game in itself, but because all the social community that was built around it. That is similar to what's happening with Killer Queen. So I think Hernan sold himself a little bit short there when he explained what he did with me alongside Thunderball Arcade. Actually, he was all the time like giving feedback, but not giving feedback only on the gameplay and how the game felt, but how this is going to be something. How can we make a game that's going to generate a community, generate conversation, and generate like these social things, events, tournaments, and how we can. That's maybe most the biggest. Not discussions, but I mean the most time that we spent talking was about that. And NAVE is one of those games that has that. It has a built-in community. It has a very solid competition. There's a lot of meta happening in the game, that stuff going on that's completely new that Videogamo didn't design, that it just like emergent from the social events, from the tournaments. There's things that are going on with that game that are completely out of the scope of the production of itself in terms of creative product, of the creative product, and that's what we aimed for Thunderball. We aimed for the sport. We aimed for the sport because it was easier to design. It took less time because it doesn't have level design and what have you. And we can focus more on the social aspect of it and the physical aspect of it in terms of the events and tournaments, etc. So that's the biggest inspiration from Videogamo and Hernan and Maximo's work, which is amazing. And yeah, basically that's it.
Gotcha. What have events been like? I know I just saw some videos. I saw NAVE and Gol-E-Gol were, I believe Gol-E-Gol was there, but for sure NAVE was there at kind of like a street party that you guys were having. What was that event like, and what was going on there?
That was actually our Thunderball. There's only one, but the idea is to make a lot more. So it's not like NAVE there's only one. The idea is to create a bunch of Thunderbolts. This is the first one, and it's located at Bar El Destello, which is an arcade bar from friends of ours who were happy enough to have the game there as a resident. So what you saw there last week or last weekend was the guys got a deal with the government to close the street and to take all the arcades on the street and invite other arcades like NAVE. So that's what happened actually, and there was like a free event all day. No, not all day, like half day. But those events are awesome because generally what happens in Argentina, at least, is that arcades are generally at bars. At least in the city, if you go to the coast, there's during the summer you have the arcades and blah. The coast, I mean the beaches, for the summertime. But here there are very few arcades, and if there are arcades, they are mostly at night, open at night, so kids don't end up going. So this is a great opportunity because kids get to experience the games for free, and families. And that was amazing. That's what was happening yesterday. They invited a bunch of indie arcades from Argentina, and they took outside the current arcades that they have in the bar.
I loved it. We in Videogamo, and I especially loved arcades on the street. I think it's the best. I think it's the best way to play arcades. I love when people it's just walk in and stop by and play a game. Like it's something that you would like for you to happen to yourself. So it's always also an opportunity to be with the fellow arcades from here. And was the first time that Nave was alongside Thunderball, so that was a highlight also for and for Nave. We love to share the space with the new games that come out, and that's basically it. It's for us it was the first gig for Nave after a hard year. The 2022, we had a lot of presentations and was a very because Nave turned 10 years old. So now this this is a more chilled year, and this was our first presentation of the game. So and also, but it's good that there were also other communities like do-it-yourself stands with stuff to buy. Also, like what we call here, it's a cyber scavenging movement. People circulating all computers for people that don't have computers, being able to have one. So it was like a big nerd party, but for the people in the streets.
Yeah, I mean that sounds super cool. I think I've only ever played arcade games outside like twice, and in both times it was really cool events to like be out in the sun but playing a game. It was cool. I'm sure it was really cool down there, especially having all those different indies and Thunderball and Nave and street vendors. All that stuff would probably be a really cool event. I guess what does the future look like for you guys for Thunderball, for Nave, for everything? You said obviously you want to make more cabinets of Thunderball and kind of bring it to everybody. What is your plan going forward with that?
Well, yeah, as I said, we want to make more of them, but the reality is that in Argentina there's not a lot of places who would like build one or buy one. So maybe there are two more other places. So basically what we are aiming for is to build one in the States or Canada, just a first one, and to see where we can leave it and showcase it on some bar or somewhere. And after that, see if we can figure out a way to build more of them at cost at first. You know, we're not looking to make ourselves millionaires. But what we're looking for is to build a community around the game, and we love what Killer Queen has been, doing in the States. We've been and everywhere actually. We've been fans of it since it came out, like playing it in San Francisco on our GDC trips, and it was also a very big inspiration for Thunderball. So, yeah, I mean I actually finished the software part of the game when the pandemic began. So that's when I started building the cabinet, and I had to halt it for a whole year and a half, or maybe 2 years, because nobody was going to play an arcade anywhere. So once the COVID stuff started opening up, we finished the arcade, and we could showcase it like it had to be showcased. And right after, during the pandemic, I've been a dad. I'm so now I have much less free time to do stuff, because we actually want to do another arcade. We're already talking about a new stuff. But yeah, basically, once I have some free time, my idea is maybe I just received a text message, but maybe there's a chance for me to go to San Francisco like in a few months for a Google event or something. So my idea was to, go to every bar basically and show them the game and ask them if they want one, and discuss the possibility of bringing one anywhere. And then if it works, do do more and to try to export the tournament concept to the States. Basically, the States mostly because there's a bunch of arcades, barcades in the States and Canada. I haven't seen much more on like Latin America. There's very few, and Europe I haven't seen many either. But that's the idea at the moment.
For us, for me, regarding Thunderball, I want to bring the game as much places as he can. I love the game. I play almost every week. This is like the first, because in Argentina most of the games are like touring games, right? It's games that are not in a fixed place, but they show up from time to time. So this is the first proper indie arcade that it's at a place every day at every hour that it's open, so people can go and compete. And we, as it happens in many arcades, where in the States that like Wednesdays is like the practice day for Killer Queen. We made something like that on Wednesdays in this bar in the El Destello. And that is a good thing, because these types of games can be played by anyone, but they need you can get really good at it, and for that you need practice, and for that you need people that it's really good at playing. And sometimes you're not at the same time with the person that you need to play with. So put in like a fixed day where the game is free and people can play. You know that if you go to the bar on that day, you will find other players, and that makes the community bigger. And as for Videogamo, we are working on Gol-E-Gol, the electronic football, the video arcade football that we made for NYU last year. And we're on a stage of finishing that first prototype and then make a pre-sale locally, because we feel that it's a game that can also appeal to like FECs and stuff, because it's a football and it's like a popular game in the base, and it's controlled like football. So we think that could work in that way, and make a few prototypes, sell them, test them, and eventually building them somewhere else. We know that many of our colleagues in the States have been like you, building their games like in a factory, and we know that there's a way to do that there. So that would be like the second stage of that project. And then to make people make more arcade games, more developers that are from the regular video game community, the indie software community, try to bring them to the arcade space, since like we always did, because basically we love arcades. So what we are building is what we'd like to live as a regular player. Like you can go to a place and play a new game, an arcade game, and be with friends and community. So the main goal is trying to enlarge that environment. So as first of all, as players, we can enjoy of that way of playing and relating to other people.
Yeah, I love it. Just keep growing the scene, keep finding more people. The arcade scene is growing a lot more than people think, and like you guys mentioned, there's not a ton in Latin America, but there is a lot in the U.S. and in Canada. There are just, it seems like there's 5 or 6 in every big city. So if you guys can get the game up here and we can talk to my manufacturer potentially and get them made up here, then who knows what could happen. I love what I'm hearing. I love all the games that are coming out, everything you guys are doing down in Argentina. just to wrap everything up, just give out shout outs to anybody that's helped you along the way and give some social media links so that people can follow along with you.
For sure. Well, first and foremost, Julian, who did the arcade, actually he manufactured it, and he was very, very thorough in the process. His Instagram, I think it's Juma Máquinas, JUMAMAQUUINAS. Juma Máquinas Arcade, I think it is. And basically the bar, El Destello, Esteban and Santiago Idelson from Bar El Destello, who gave us our chance. I mean, the minute I thought of doing an arcade, I asked them, hey, if I do an arcade, can I leave it there? And if if people play it, can it stay there? And they say, yeah, of course. And they've been super cool about it. And it's very, thank God people are playing it, because if not, I had to pull it out of there. I don't know where I would bring it to. It's huge. But yeah, basically them two are, I think, and of course, I forgot to mention Tony Lace, who did the music and the music from the game, which is an original song, quite a few original songs by him. That's at Tony Lace, TONILEYS, and actually Tony makes the music. I think he did also the sound design and the music or the sound design for Gol-E-Gol and some other things for NAVE and Videogamo. Not sure NAVE, but possibly Dobotone. And I think that's our shout outs. And our social media for Thunderball, it's at Thunderball Arcade on TikTok and on Instagram. That's the only two places that we are at the moment.
My shoutouts are for every arcade developer or all the colleagues, both here in Argentina and in the States. We've been in touch for many years, and you should check them out on Indie Arcade Wave. You have almost all of them, and I thank them as a player for making new arcade games. And our social media for Videogamo, it's Videogamo or Videogamo, like a video game but with an O at the end, on Twitter, and Videogamo.inc, like Monsters Inc. Instagram.
Awesome. I love the little Monsters Inc. plug there. That's a good one. Yeah, thanks for coming on, guys. I love talking about games that I can't play that I really want to play. It's always fun to hear from the developers, like how it came to be and everything like that. So thank you for making games down in Argentina. I hope we can bring them up to the States. I'd really love to play them, or I'll just come down to visit you because, you know, it's snowing here today, so maybe I should just go somewhere warm. But thanks again for coming on. If you like what we're doing here at Indie Arcade Wave, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It helps a ton. The wave will keep growing, and like I said about the shirts, don't forget about the shirts. Those just came out. And until next time, peace.